Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delving in Deep. We have a title. We came up with a clever title. It uses D&D in the title. I'm so excited.
Delvin and D?
Delving in Deep? Question mark. I'm Uncommon, and joining me as always is the lovely and beautiful Shazam Poof.
Poofy poofy.
And
Come on.
previously on Delving in Deep, we told you what we were about and who we were. Can we recap that real quick? Do we have that footage? Tom, do we have that footage?
Okay, editor, cut to the clip. All right, thank you. It is. We're creating a world, and we're doing it from scratch. And I don't mean like how you make a sandwich from scratch. We don't even know how to make a sandwich because we don't know what bread is. All right.
Right.
We don't know what cheese is.
And we
We
don't
don't
have the
know what
ingredients for the
ham
Big Bang.
is. Right. Like so, we're figuring out what bread is, and then after that we'll figure out what meat is, and then we'll figure out what some cheese is, and then if we're feeling fancy we'll figure out the mustard, and then we'll make ourselves a world sandwich.
Can we avoid the olives this time around?
The olives. Have you ever known anybody who's eaten a cream cheese and olive sandwich?
No, that sounds really. I don't know if it sounds horrific or disgusting. I mean, intuitively it sounds disgusting, but I don't want to like hurt the feelings of any olive loving cream cheesers out there.
I don't think my dad will watch the stream.
Oh,
uh,
burn.
no, I'm just saying this, he like that's like a distinct memory from my childhood. But it wouldn't be on bread, it'd be on toast. It's a distinct difference.
There is a
But
distinct
yeah.
difference between toast. So I do have up the episode one titles, um, going through kind of the outline. Okay, who we are. For those who are tuning in for the first time, uh,
Quick, take a screenshot and read through that
read
chaos.
through that whole chaos. I have a lot of experience doing this. Tom doesn't, but Tom loves spreadsheets and punishing himself with data. So Tom has offered to be my data. He's data boy. And
I should change my name, Data Boy.
data
Da,
boy,
da, da, da.
data poof,
Punishing myself with data.
data.
I've never heard a more accurate description of my own human being.
Also, hello Tuck4. Thank you for joining. And yes, it does sound horrific and disgusting. I'm glad my intuition was spot on. So, quick overcap. We talked about tools we were going to use, mostly OneNote to collaborate. It's a fantastic tool. Hashtag Microsoft. Tools we won't use. Emotional attachment for our ideas. I can't say that enough. Emotional attachment to our ideas. Because when you do that, you ruin the game for your players, for the co-DM. And I'll tell you, I want to expand on that a little bit because I had some thoughts about emotional attachment to your games.
The players are wrong.
The
Yes.
players are wrong, right? So imagine you create this fantastic, thrilling world that's it's deep and imaginative, it's alive, and your players start playing the game, and instead of the left turn with where all your love and care has been put into, they take a right turn. As a DM, you're gonna fuck that up. You're gonna guide them back to the left turn. Like fuck you, you're going left somehow, and it's gonna take away all of that fun. Um,
I'm emotionally attached to
yeah, Tech Force says I am emotionally attached to Sandpoof. Aren't we all attached to Data Boy?
I like the eye. I like the boy with the eye. I think that's the right way to go.
I think it's a new
But
spelling.
that's why bugbears exist. You kill your party and then you keep on killing them until they
Until
go
they go
away.
left. Until see, and
Yeah.
that's how you ruin the game for your friends. We are also using some D&D books when we have to, but we're not there yet, right? We're talking
Nope.
big ideas.
That's us discovering what bread is.
It is.
We haven't figured that out yet.
Well, some of us. I know what bread is.
You don't know what bread is.
I have made the sandwich before. Maybe bologna, and that bologna with the cheese built into it was my sandwich. But I've made a sandwich. Thank you very much. This could be a better sandwich.
No, you just went to a nerdier kid, punched him, and stole his sandwich.
I was never a bully.
That cursed straw sandwich.
That's fair. I am a huge fan of modules, but I'm a huge fan of using the material and you know not prepping. What? So, organization.
Yes. Yes, bread.
Bread.
Very, very good.
All right, so we went ahead
Thanks,
and
Dan.
we laid out a quick organizational structure. At the top here, you can see our tabs: general, DM screen, NPCs, organization, location, characters, timelines, monsters, encounters, and deities. And that's maybe not the right answer. Once we have more data and we can categorize it better, you might see that shift. But for the moment, that'll do, and that gives us something to talk about. We kind of charted what we wanted in each of those tabs, and we're going to probably hit those tabs one at a time as we develop these episodes. Now, ideally, in between episodes, we're also going to fill in some of the mass text ourselves, rather than doing that on stream. But we'll see how awesome we end up being. Tech4 says...
Is that pumpernickel? Are you trying to spell pumpernickel?
I like Pumpernickel. Definitely favorite bread to say is Pumpernickel. We did settle on some themes. We settled.
Yes.
God damn it. And I will say this is an interactive world. So by being here and participating, you can contribute to the D&D. You can. You could do that. Contribute. I'm just looking at Tom, but he doesn't know I'm looking at him. Like, all right, so we decided the theme was arcane magic is rare and illegal because of the gods, and we kind of fleshed out what that means. We decided that gods created this world to come down and rule and have a more direct impact than they were allowed to in the other realms out there. This probably exists on the spectrum, on the collection of worlds that is Dungeons and Dragons and their settings. They all kind of exist in these planes. This makes this world part of the prime material plane, and this would be a place where gods come to
Party.
Probably get their shit on. Some of those gods like ruling, some of those gods like partying, some of those gods like protecting nature. Whatever we're about to decide today, which leads me into what we said we'd talk about, which is try to come up with a name. We did that, delving in deep. A rough draft of the map. List major players and deities, give them some meat, some minor deities, a rough draft of the setting before event. We talked about, the world should be shaped by some event, and that event I think we agreed on is the gods deciding to intervene, and then, how races of D&D play into it. So I'm going to copy this next time into our outline because none of us wrote an outline.
I wrote the word outline,
and
I was expecting you to do something about it.
I do see that you own that block. It does say Tom Mish Sheehan, which now there's your name for the world. So you can leave it up there.
Appreciate it.
Hi. First pickup equals Pumpernickel bread. I'm contributing. You are contributing. I'm not repeating that last phrase. We all do Tech 4. That's the proper way to look at that. So, next time on Untitled, we can change that to Delving in Deep. Because that's what we are now. We said... Oh, wait. We got to exit This is the recap. So... Oh, wow. Thanks for that recap. I appreciate it. Future past me. All right, now we're back into the game. None of that joke made sense. It started on the train track, and it didn't quite make its destination. Rough draft of the map. Tom,
I'm even lost.
Yeah, you're fine. I was pretending like that whole thing was a recap of the episode, and I actually did some editing, which isn't going to happen.
No,
I'm not editing.
Wait, you're not going to do editing? I'm
just
shocked and surprised.
A highlight stream of what we're talking about right now.
Don't make me.
Okay, so locations tab. I'm going to locations tab. We decided we'd do a rough draft of this map. So without drawing yet, what exists in a good fantasy map? What do we want?
What exists in a good fantasy map? So if you where's my?
Do we need mountains? What if a world has no mountains?
I'm gonna give you mountains.
Mountains.
So
rivers. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. I just monologued for the last 8 minutes.
Oh yeah, monologue. I had creative input all throughout that shit, like the words on the page. So wait. Bread growing on trees.
Bread growing on trees fucking everywhere. I'm going to put that down in our episode 2 idea list.
But what I said, one of the things to talk about is the importance of controlled randomness.
Okay.
Which is right, because you gotta, you know, there's chaos to creation, and so if you, like you were talking about before, is if you control everything that goes on, you will become too emotionally attached to it, right? Because it's your creation. It's not uh, you're sort of creating the platform on which you are then expanding. So it's like your roots to your tree. Whereas, of course, you can't completely depend on randomness, because then it's just no good. But having an idea, one of the things that was mentioned to me, and this is like one of these random facts that I know, and like I'm on the internet and I know things, but do you know the show Ruby by Rooster Teeth?
Sure.
Okay, so that show, it's a Western anime show. For those of you, and 5 years from now, when we're super popular, can come back and fight over what I just said about Western anime. It The world that they exist in, that anime world, was essentially, he needed a world, so he was in a restaurant and he took a napkin, squirted ketchup on the napkin, folded it up, rubbed it together, and there was his world.
I can see it.
And so, it's then edited from that, but that is your base canvas.
And the idea there, I think, is a random shape, because
I mean, it's not, it's more than just the shape. It's the general just sense of it. You can't just do every single thing, because that's not a world, right? The world isn't created by
maybe
it's not.
Well, I mean, this is a world we've created where gods have directly intervened. Think about and I'm gonna maybe nerd out for a moment here. So
okay,
we think about Tolkien. That's standard fantasy. It's a blob. There's mountains. There's dwarves and mountains, and there's cities of men, and it's pretty the standard.
J.R. Tolkien,
right? We're friends. I just call him Tolkien.
Toki. Hey Toki, what's up?
Hey Tokes. So, and with a lot of fantasy, I mean, we're talking Faerun, we're talking Eberron, we're talking Dragonlance, an untold number of fantasy. That's what the worlds look like. But then we have, let's say, Sword Art Online. You know what I'm talking about?
No. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an anime about a video game fantasy world where instead of this big sprawling open world, it's just this large 100-floor dungeon, and each dungeon has its own open world and underground, and that's a different take on what a fantasy map looks like. It's just created by a being setting. So we don't necessarily have to restrain ourselves to the thing that was done 100 times over if we have a unique idea.
Finally.
Oh, yeah, like I shut up? Like you just
No, I finally figured out how to do something that I've been trying to figure out since the show started. So like 10 minutes.
Was this your Civilizations random edit?
No, it's the Asgard thing. I just messed it all up. Okay, so I still don't know what's going on.
So you didn't hear enough of that to give me a critical thought back.
No, I did, but it's like, I mean, yeah, we could do that, but then we're going to become too attached to it. And I don't see how we wouldn't be.
Well, you can still apply randomness to that. I'm just saying we don't have to just make a. We don't have to go standard. We can, and that doesn't mean anything, and that's fine.
But then is random then standard? I don't think like the Curse of Strahd wasn't random.
The Curse of Strahd exists in a bubble of fog. That's a unique setting to me. That's a unique map, and that's.
But right, so but that isn't random.
I don't think any of Faerun or Eberron is really random, but they're also similar in that they're giant blob of land.
Giant. Okay. So we can have portals, right? We got a portal. No, like the game Portal this shit up, right? We should have portals we can walk.
Now you're thinking with portals.
And
Okay,
I can record all the background music. Oh, it's
I'm down.
uh,
I'm gonna put a background music tab up here. A music tab, media tab, media. All right, we need another template.
tech just becomes the third DM.
God, we're just gonna have 18 DMs and like 5 players.
He's gonna control the bread trees. That's his sole objective. Tech, how's the bread tree harvest today?
Give me 15.
Let me roll.
I'll do it now. 15 minutes. Okay, so
I'm just music GM.
we got to put something on paper. We were talking too much. We do got to put something on paper. Oh, you have world map paper? Where?
No.
Where?
No. You're talking about designing the world right now. I don't think that's where we start.
We decided a rough draft of the world map. That's what we're talking about right now.
There are multiple other topics. And now I gotta click what I was doing.
Well, I mean, we could skip this topic, and
because I think
from a creation standpoint,
if the deities are going to be as major of a player, in this world, is that what we have vastly would affect what the world is.
Okay.
So I think we would need to talk about that before we can talk about the world.
All right, so then we'll go from the creation angle. Like on the first day, the 18,000 gods decided to do what?
Not true.
All right, so let's do deities.
The 18, see, and this isn't like, how are we going to do 18,000 gods?
You have spreadsheets. You wanted to put some work into it. Fucking go. I know.
Don't make me. Don't make me. I will. I'll have tabs.
Tom says, "Don't threaten me with a good time." All right. So you said how many gods should we have? 6, 7, or 8? Is that what you think about a number under 10?
A number under 10, but more than 4.
All right. So let's categorize gods. What kind of so in this world, let's say today's world, right? The Christian God is the one true God, with the Holy Trinity attached.
Okay.
When you go to like Greek and Roman.
Okay. Now I see where you're going. I thought this was gonna take a weird turn, and
then Greek and Roman were like, were they gods of themes and nature and different elemental powers?
I mean, kind of ish.
How do you describe that?
I mean, it's polytheistic, but
is that what all polytheism is? Is different like elements and?
I mean, in a way, you have different gods celebrating different things. I mean, I don't know enough about polytheism to say that is true. Oh, I'm sorry.
About polytheism.
But I would say that is a majorialistic common theme. But I don't know why we're starting this far. I mean, if we're starting back this far, we either need to make the choice: are we just making all new gods, or are we using what we have?
What do you want?
Right?
I pulled out the 4th edition book to help this discussion.
What? Get that old shit out of here.
My 5th edition book is somewhere being used. But no, all the deities don't really change in D&D. They more or less stay the same from place to place. But okay, so where do you think we should start, Tom? Because I'm going by your notes, and like I've taken a turn, but you're backseat driving. I'm just gonna get out of the car. I'm gonna take a step out. I'm gonna say, all right, Tom, take the wheel.
Well, but I usually can like see an end point, but I don't see an end point. So here, right now, this is me. I'm scooching up on the console. You've unbuckled your seatbelt, gotten into the passenger seat. I'm trying to wiggle through. I'm a little too big for this.
All right.
But so I mean, when it comes to I was having more fun playing with map editors than other things.
You told me we weren't doing maps.
I didn't.
That's too much. We shouldn't be sketching anything right now.
I'll punch you.
I'll
drive across the country. I'm gonna drive across the country.
So go ahead.
So in D&D, we have. Are are there levels of gods, right? You have your like super gods, and then you have like your medium
Um,
gods and your minor gods, or are they all on the same level of strength? Do they
so
not?
what we typically have is we'll say in Faerun, they're probably all about the same level of strength. Um, and they control different things, and their power will wax and wane. You know, but never some horrible level of dominance. In Dragonlance, there were like three major gods, and then some minor gods, some less powerful gods. But the standard gods were the less powerful, and the three major gods. And I think, and I'm probably completely wrong, and I'll get crucified for this later. In Greek mythology, there's the Titans and a whole history there, and different
Yep,
levels
you
of
got your
gods there.
tree.
World of Warcraft is kind of the same way, and we're talking just random things here. In D&D specifically, especially 4th edition, it's about 20 gods is what I'm looking at, and they cover all the areas of influence in the spectrum of luck, justice, honor, knowledge, death, trickery, annihilation. There's a lot of things that they have power over. And I think we're aiming to look at this by, I think we want a creation story at the end. We want to know kind of what the spectrum, the civilization of the gods looks like.
Okay.
In my mind, that's where I think you want to go. That's where I think you want to go, and I want to go where you want to go.
Okay. So we have 20 gods to work with, and so we take a good balance of those gods from 6 to 8, plop them on some land.
Okay.
And then we can sort of just like decide how, if we could maybe even pick those gods at random. Maybe
if we're
maybe,
going to do
maybe
that,
not.
I don't want to start with the gods. I want to start with their themes and areas of influence. I want to say, like, there's a god of light, so there's a god of dark. So we got to go light, dark. I want to pick the 6 major themes that control the whole world.
Okay, so you're gonna pick essentially 3 themes and three opposites.
No, I want to play. Maybe. I think I want to have 8 themes, and when we look at those 8 themes, everything in the world falls under one of those 8 categories. That would be what I'd go for.
Okay. I haven't figured out the thing that I thought I figured out before.
So if I'm gonna cheat a little bit,
one of the gods should be named John. Just saying.
I mean, I'm down. You're here. You have.
What about John, the slutty god?
What about no? I mean, what kind of god is John? What kind of god comes down to Earth, the world that we're creating, and says, "I want to live among the men, and be John. I'm just gonna be an everyday John. I'm gonna experience the life of mortals. I'm gonna work a 9 to 5." That's when I hear John. When I have a god named John, that's what comes to my mind. Like, he's got a bigger name, but he comes down and he says, "I'm John, and I'm gonna work the windmill." And when he dies, he changes. He picks another form. He comes back down to Earth. He's like, "I'm John, the carpenter."
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, "I'm Jim."
I'm Jim. Yeah, I think every time he's John, and we're like, "What's your last name?" He's like, "John, just John." So.
But also, if there's no god of lust, we should have a god of lust, and his name be Horowitz, spelled with a W.
I think while that's funny, it wouldn't fly. That wouldn't fly. That's like an inside joke for us, but it feels like out of context, it's anti-Semitic.
Oh.
Oh God, you're using big words on me.
What words? What word did I use those?
No, not you. John used the big words.
Oh.
John, the god of the proletariat.
Yeah.
Firefox is starting an update, so I can look up the word proletariat. I've heard the word before. I don't remember its context, except out of the workers and working class people regarded collectively. Okay, all right.
So he's the communist god.
He's the communist god, the lowest class of citizen in the Roman Empire.
Why isn't this just easier?
So the god. So, all right. That would be the most neutral of gods, right? One of my favorite gods in Dragonlance was a god who just recorded everything. He was true neutral, but all he did was just write the histories of the world as fact. Like, as things happened, he could see everything and was just writing in his fucking books. It was great. Love that guy. John's kind of the different. He's experiencing the life of men. But what kind of area of influence? If we're going to give him one of the 8 domains, what does that look like? Civilization? Experience? Or how would you name that in the broadest sense of things?
In Jewish history, the scribe is the Megatron. Metatron? Oh, Metatron.
Come on. How do we name John? What kind of domain do we have for John?
So are we creating 8 new gods then?
I'm working on the template in the draft. I think that's what we're doing right now.
I don't think we answered the first question. We got bored of the first question and then moved on to something that is completely relevant onto whether.
Am I steering too much again? All right, take us away.
No, all I'm saying is we haven't decided.
Yes, let's make the gods right now.
Okay, so we're making 8 brand new gods.
We're making gods, and we're going to take a look at them and see if it works. And then we'll work into the creation story.
Okay, as long as we're decided to go by that.
We have to get something on paper.
We
have done nothing in the last.
This is a podcast.
5 minutes. It barely.
This is a podcast.
It's barely a podcast. You're a podcast. It's funny. I'm looking at this, the back page of D&D 4th edition, and the big thing with D&D 4th edition is I wanted to make a really super advanced version of Roll20 to go with it. And I'm gonna show my screen here, the advertisements for this D&D Insider, where they wanted to give us these 3-dimensional, this 3-dimensional world for DMs to create their dungeons and players to move their tokens. Just Roll20 but better. I don't think I ever saw anything come out of this ever, at all. Anyway, so fucking gods. What are our 8 domains? Where do we start?
I mean,
come on.
Well, I just don't want to go. I don't want to go 7 deadly sins of the shit.
Let's go. To me, fucking Tom, put content on the paper. Let's go.
I don't agree with making 8 new gods, so I don't know. If we're making these 8 new gods, and you're let's do this.
What are you worried about?
Because you said at the beginning of this, I was let's take a good couple of years to do this, and you're fuck it, let's do this in 3 months, and then you're by the way, let's just make everything up.
What do you?
I don't think we're going to be able to meet your timeline right now.
I'm not aiming for a timeline. Stop worrying about timeline. What do you want to do right now? I think you were just on the internet looking for ideas, but we're live, motherfucker. We are live. What do you want to do right now?
Right now?
Right now. What do you want to do?
God one has to be pumpernickel.
The ability to make pumpernickel bread out there. God damn it. That seems like a minor god to me. Much less god number 1. Pumpernickel. Not even pumpernickel. What do you want to do right now, Tom? We're not just having...
You have your god...
What do you want to do?
You have your god that creates food and water. Boom, there, go. Next. Come on, let's go.
So what is that the god of? What domain is that? Bigger than food and water. Is that nourishment? Is that nature? Is that... What is that?
Yes.
Yes, ain't. So just all right.
How big do you want the domains to be? So you're going to end up with 8 domains because there's only so many domains.
Whatever
so
domains,
you have light, you have dark, you have nature, you have water, and you have fire, and you have earth.
It's as broad as we want it to be. If that's where you want to go, light, dark, nature, water, fire, earth, awesome. It's awesome that we could go that route, or we can go things like, justice, knowledge, turmoil, storms, death, fate, creation, wilderness, sea, spiders. There's a god of spiders in this fucking book.
Okay. So...
these are more concepts. They don't have to be Captain Planet summoning spells.
Oh yeah, where's our heart? Where's the monkey?
Love? Okay.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's the lust god.
Lust, nature.
Which should still be nature.
We got nature.
It's fine with me.
Do they have to be domain style gods of the Greeks or other types of pantheons. They don't have to be anything. They can be anything we want. We just have to find a way to categorize 8 to 12 to 7, whatever number we choose. If we get to 8 and we go, that's not enough, we still need a style for we still need a domain to cover courage. We'll do it. But we just, I'm aiming to define what these domains are.
So are they gonna? I mean, love and lust. That's the same thing. Don't let anybody tell you different.
We'll just call it love. We'll just call it love.
Or what's the love god?
Is Adam Sandler's from Waterboy a god?
We already have that. We have the water god.
We have the water god. H2O. Is our god of water simple? All right, so the god of light, that's the god of creation, of the seasons, or maybe nature's the god of seasons, right? We go seasons.
You go moon.
The god of fire is the god of wrath and battle. Please type. Please. Moon. All right, the god of the moon, and the cycle, the god of the cycle, death. See, now we're building.
But now we're just creating things that already exist.
That's a thing.
Right. But then, like,
there's no such thing as original thought, Tom.
Well, okay, sure. If you want to get philosophical, yeah, sure. There's no such thing as original thought. So why don't we skip building the wheel and just drive the car?
Because at some point we have to build the wheel. We have to determine. The idea here is okay. Maybe you're not seeing the destination, Tom.
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. Here we go. In this, and when I talk about about this at the angle of creation, you come up with the deities, and you say this is kind of what they have control over. These are their influences. This is how they came to be. Now, they at some point created a world. How did they do it? And we get there, and we start understanding the beginning of this world and how it came to shape itself. And then we can hit to the why it's the way it is now, the end goal. How did they get here? Why is the god of light and creation? What's he doing on this world? We have this theme of arcane magic is outlawed. How? Which one of these gods has the biggest influence on that law? What are they doing?
So then do we step that far? Like, let's say we have our the light and dark god, daddy and mommy god, and they put all of their little son and daughter gods in timeout in this planet.
Maybe that's an idea. So we say that dark and light are the greater gods, and that makes nature, water, fire, earth, love. They're the second level of gods, the children of light and dark.
Right, because I don't see, to me, I can't come up with this is like the stupidest statement I've said in a while, but I can't come up with a logical conclusion about why 8 gods would show up on a world.
We already had that. We already had talked about that. They want, so
they want to be more humble.
No, they just want
you said to enjoy the
prime material plane.
Okay. Why?
Because maybe celestial living.
They got bored.
How about this? The goddess of darkness, the god of light, decided that their children needed to mature, so they sent them to the prime material plane to rule this world of their own creation, in order to mature, develop, and grow into whatever it is that the light and dark god want. And then once enough time has passed, the Armageddon or whatever will happen, and they'll move on. But and this is God time. Maybe that takes hundreds of thousands of years, and they have to manage this world. Maybe there are some rules about gods and conflict and conflicts between siblings. And these are ideas we're bleeding into. We're not even at that level of detail yet. Because these gods, I say light, creation, chaos for one of these, and maybe that changes when we talk about the greater levels of light, life, and chaos for me are pretty good. We talk about dark, cycle. I would even say the opposite of chaos is what? Order. I think death and darkness are order. Life is chaos.
Okay. If you want to, okay.
You see you see the angle though.
Yeah. No, I see the angle.
Okay. And to me, those could be the greater beings. In the beginning, there was light and darkness. Not chaos equals order. Bang. I like it. All right, so we are we at least okay, so we're going in a similar direction
To ourselves last week.
Ourselves. Well, no, I'm aiming a target.
Oh, you're talking about me and you different. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
To me, we're one person.
We are one person.
Mm-hmm.
Inside. All right. Jeez. So taking a look at this, we have light, life, chaos. Now, what would they come together? We're looking at at first it's just elements. We have nature, water, fire, earth, love. I mean, those are pretty broad. They're not even.
That's Captain Planet.
That's almost Captain Planet. Yeah. I mean, Earth is nature. We can get rid of Earth, nature. Earth, nature, seasons.
Can we get Aang? Where's our air?
Water. I mean, we gotta start giving them. Oh, look at it. So, fire. I wrote wrath. That's an emotion. So, what emotion do we have for water?
Calm.
No. Serenity.
I guess. Sure. There you go. If you want to use polysymbolical words on me.
I don't know what polysymbolical means. I'll look that up right next to
serenity. It's words with more than 3 syllables. If I am correct.
What kind of?
I needed to check to make sure serenity did.
Wrath. What kind of emotion can we attribute with Earth?
Steady.
Maybe that's serenity. Water's volatile.
Well, it depends. This water in my cup is not.
Yeah, but the god of water isn't the god of the water in your cup. It's the god of the fucking seas.
Or I almost just dropped my water all over my desk, and it was your fault.
That's awesome. Polysymbol. Yeah, it's a word, and it does mean multiple syllables. And if I take a moment to break it down, I might have realized that I'm not the idiot I think I am.
But I'm still not in love with this idea.
You don't have to be. It can be. This is a draft. We're trying to make progress today without being in love with every single idea. We're not going to get emotionally attached to our ideas, Tom. You just said love.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could create shit. Okay, so and then here's another idea. Our Hot Wheels. God, we got a fucking Matchbox, the fucking shitty version. That's what the poor kids had. I love those cars. And then you have Barbie, Supreme.
If you're not in love with it, how would you change
Ken it? Car.
How would you change it?
I don't know. I like. To me, what are we getting out of creating our own? I guess to me, what is the benefit of creating our own?
We can put our own stories to them without having to understand the full depth and breadth of somebody else's creation.
And so you in your mind you would need to understand the depth of
if I start talking about Lolth from Faerun and I start adding her into here as a god, yeah, there's books on this motherfucker. And if I get something wrong, yeah, obviously. Nerds will unite. He was saying it wrong. He said polysymbolic.
Polysymbolical. Don't.
I don't know. That's not what he's saying in the text. That's not what he's saying in the text.
Fight me, John.
All right.
Fight me.
What I'm getting at is why saying.
With your small words.
Oh my gosh. 1 second. Right.
Mommy, why does Daddy drink?
You don't have to be sold on on water, fire, and earth being gods. That's not the end product. That's a theme, and we're starting. In the end, they're going to have a name other than water. They're going to have some characteristics, and maybe we erase water and we keep whatever else comes next. Like this is a draft. We're honing this in, but we have to get something on paper. I'm deleting Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and Barbie.
I mean, those are great.
Those are great guys.
I think the depth on which those we could go in the story of those. I'm really impressed with myself that I was able to pull out Matchbox again. I was scared when I started talking about Hot Wheels. I didn't know what the second one was, but I pulled it back out.
You can start with character traits of the gods, and as their story plays out, they become associated with certain domains. That's good too. And I think I'm working towards that. I'm working towards using these domains to create character traits, and then as we work out the story, those character traits refine the domains.
Okay. So then we're looking at 8 distinct biomes.
Maybe. I wouldn't say biomes. They don't have to have control. Their area doesn't have to greatly represent them. That's the area they fell into. I don't need a land of fucking fire. That sounds or a land of love. That's even worse.
What do you mean? I literally have that all planned out.
We take the god of love.
The god of love was gonna be a short, stocky fella with a man bun.
I think the god of love is our traveler. The god of love is our one that just wanders and parties. And it feels very hippie love to me. Like love is the answer to everything, hippie love.
Let's see.
So instead of starting with god of the sea, you just have a god that likes to explore and ends up associated with the sea, so be it.
I guess if we do what John just said,
yeah,
right, then we have to. What we would do is would that world be playable?
Why not? Every world's playable.
Okay.
It's not. Yes. How is it unplayable? Explain to me why you think that could be unplayable.
So to me, there are. Oh, I guess that would be an interesting point in time, right? There's more like video games are based on, World War II.
Okay.
And they're not based on, the 1890s.
Okay.
Right? It's more certain times are more interesting to think about, relive.
Okay, I'm following.
All those. So, to me, and it definitely could be if we're looking at now I'm thinking about it a little bit more. How would the players be intertwined with the gods finding themselves on this planet? Would they to me they would have to somehow be involved in that process? Why? Or that process would have already had to have happened, because then what are the players doing?
Okay, so the players are dropped into this world that's a living, breathing organism. The gods are finding themselves or not finding themselves or found themselves and are just waiting. It doesn't matter what the gods are doing.
This is college.
Right. It doesn't matter.
College.
If they interact with zero of the gods because their path never takes them across it, fine. But the world has been influenced by these gods, and that's what they're interacting with. They're interacting with the result of the fire god owning too much territory and battling across the land. That's what the impact is. These gods, the interactions with these gods should be like level 18 shit. This ain't level 5 shit.
What do you mean? You got this god casts his magic missile at level 1.
Yeah, this god casts magic missile at level 10. There's not 10 levels. There is now. He's a god. That's what I mean. It's the second and third order effects. We are not getting into the detail that the players will see. We're getting into the background that shapes the world.
Okay.
We can't have a god of sick tunes. The god of love is probably the god of music. He's the
Oh,
he's the traveler.
the god of convoys.
That, the god of convoys, the god of people who get together and travel from place to place in large groups.
Come on, Tech, sing it. Okay, here, let me
Earth, fire, wind. Oh, we didn't get wind.
yes, yeah. I had my Aang joke. I guess I could have written it,
Wind's a thing. Wind's freedom. Wind means the air.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start putting personalities to these. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. What about here? So here,
We could probably use some more sub gods down here. Please do. Please write. Your
looks
ba ba
ugly.
ba is some great.
It's my thinking music.
You're thinking music. Ba 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 ba. Thinking is important.
Okay, here we gotta do this. If we're looking at goals,
Okay.
I'm getting some extremely large goals.
Okay.
And I like these so far. Okay, these are making sense. Okay.
All right, you're doing some things. Why don't you talk to us about what you're doing? Because this is a process of teaching people how to do world building by doing it.
So right now I'm just clearing things up and making things pretty.
Sure, very important to the thought process.
And I'm almost there, and I don't know exactly.
What are you doing?
I am taking a list of goals.
Goals. Okay.
Creating some or editing it a little bit, and having some goals. If we're looking at certain things that, like, if the way John was saying,
Okay.
instead of having God having explore, having a God be about spirituality, and that in case of worship, or a God of knowledge, of understanding.
Okay, let's hit it one at a time. Let's go one at a time.
Okay.
What does spirituality mean to a god? Does it mean love for their parents? Does it mean worshippers?
Worshippers.
So this is a god. This is a god that loves to have people worship them. So
that is his main focus.
To
or
build
his or her
temples in their name and convert followers.
And see, and this is where I want to add something, but now I got to wait until it's done. And which is why I usually just talk.
So knowledge and skill. What's the goal of that god? Do they love to create things?
Wait, is it attentive? Knowledge and skill. Sorry, what did you say?
And sorry, you finish your thought on spirituality and be the most attentive to their followers. Okay. So
right.
The most direct, the followers who have the most direct interaction with their god is going to be this god. Okay. Mm-hmm. So knowledge and skill. What's your idea here? More blood for the blood god. That's fair. We can have that.
No one gets the chance to create more blood.
Some of these goals overlap, but we can work with that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
knowledge and skill.
Potentially. I mean, I think we might be able to differentiate them.
What's the purpose of this god? What is this? Does this god? This god wants more knowledge and skill. This god wants to be better.
Right. So better.
Wants to.
I guess really
more
towards
powerful?
any skill. Yeah, and you could also maybe tie in history, in some way.
They seek out ways to obtain and seek out ways to create and obtain more power.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at a god level, they're not like creating libraries. At a god level, if this is a god,
you can totally have a god library.
Okay, so you can have a god library, but this is a god's goal. If a god's goal is knowledge and skill, it's what that god wants. It's not what that god wants their followers to do.
Well, Well, why can't a god have a library?
But God can have a library if that's what he's seeking. He wants more power. He wants more power. Power, knowledge is power.
Right. I mean, if this world, if the gods aren't all knowing and seeing.
So the difference to me is, I maybe pigeonholed this. So the god of knowledge and skill can be a god who wants to be more powerful, or it can be a god who wants to spread knowledge to people. That could be their goal. The god who so I think that's where you meant to go. Who wants to spread knowledge.
Yeah.
And knowledge to people. They they drive their followers to create vast libraries and educational systems.
As well as, I don't know. I still think like historical, like historical.
Oh God, you made it all green.
See, and then this is the thing where it's all green to me all the time, but then I write something that's not green.
I made it not green right there.
It's the opposite. I know you don't. I know you copy it and then paste it, so it looks just like you do everything all the time.
Tom, I do.
That is not true. There is an equal amount of green and white on this page.
All right, give me.
And you've even copied over some of my stuff and deleted my stuff.
Take a moment and drive this self-awareness train. I'll be right back.
Okay, self-awareness train. This is you got your except now we're flipping back and forth between what they want their people to do and what they are, because this is I guess like is this your hippie one, your inner thought and peace. Oh my God! Or do you want to go more narcissistic? See, I don't know how to spell that word because I'm not a narcissist, and I can't even spell it close enough. Hold on, Google. Google will know what I'm saying because Google's the best spell checker. Narcissist. So this is what you get when see and look at that. Boom. No, it has no idea what I'm saying. Google, I even spelled it more wrong on Google. No, the C comes first. Inner thought and peace. So then
all right. So we have self-awareness. Inner thought and peace, or do you want to go more narcissist? I want to know what they want to accomplish on this world.
Gods are. So are we doing what the gods are or what they want their people to be?
I think some of these gods don't give a fuck about people. So I think it's what the gods are. What the gods are.
Okay, so what the gods are. So to me, the two things that I guess the first one's kind of about them, but like the knowledge that's I guess the knowledge is for the god. Well, right? Because I think if the gods are all seeing and all knowing, it breaks the system.
Yes, and I think knowledge and skill works. They want to knowledge and skill. They want to spread knowledge. They have a passion for spreading knowledge. The first god has a passion for having people worship them. So what they're trying to do is be the nice god. They're trying to give their followers what they want. They're not necessarily good at being a god, but they're giving. Because why god's a different category,
right? Then why do we for the knowledge god have it be about people obtaining knowledge for the god themselves?
It's just one of the angles. All we're saying is we say this is knowledge and skill. What's the angle? If we could just as easily say the god wants knowledge for themselves. Maybe this god decides that the best way to learn is to spread knowledge himself. Build on the shoulders of giants. He knows he can't do it all on his own, so he's got these great minds working together to learn and develop for him. So I mean, those work together. I mean, that's why I talk about. You say spirituality is one word, and we start with this God loves to have people worship them. So what does that God do? They build temples. They convert followers. They're most attentive, but they're probably ineffective. They're probably too focused on having followers and not focused enough on ABC. We start building these flaws into the system. The God of knowledge wants to spread knowledge to the people in an effort to learn more. What does that become? What are the flaws in that system? What kind of person is that? We build into that one piece at a time. Now, what about so inner thoughts and peace, self-awareness and understanding? So this God sounds like somebody to me who wants to accomplish the goals of his parents that sent him here. He wants the quickest way out of here. So he thinks it's, maturity and understanding.
Yeah.
This
Parents or captors or.
This feels like the John God. This feels like the God that says, I'm going to live among the people because my parents sent me here to be among the people.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I was like, are you saying John exist?
No. This is that God that says the quickest way out of here is to understand myself, and I think my parents sent me here to be among the people. That I like that as a starting. What do you think?
Where I'm trying to see.
I'm not typing.
No, I here. Hold on. I was trying to literally put John's quote in here.
Wants to return home, and believes the best way to return is to mature and grow as an individual.
And so
go ahead.
So you're 100% set on the parent idea.
I like it as a starting point, and I like it as I like it. It doesn't have to be a thing, but it feeds into this one God particularly well. Or we could always reword parents with greater.
And that's why I'm just keep an open mind about that.
Yeah, everything is open minded here.
What? Then screw that.
What'd you do?
Hold on, I can do that.
Just hit Control Z a few times.
No, I did.
But God wants to return home and believes the best way to return is to. I'm just going to delete. You're out of control.
That's amazing. I don't know how I copied and pasted that into Notepad, and then we gotta have John in here. If we had bread growing on fucking trees everywhere.
Give me a second. Give me a fucking second. I'll quote him. You just don't know how to fucking copy paste, apparently.
You don't know how to copy paste. You do it.
I don't need to. I'm gonna type it.
Big man.
Because that's guaranteed to keep my formatting.
Oh, so okay. So
I know the best way to copy and paste is not to copy paste.
I copy and paste in Notepad. And
we're not getting anywhere. This is the episode where we argue all the time. Friendship over.
Boom. Here, I'll do it again.
Oh, God damn it. God wants to return home and believes the best way to return is to mature and grow as an individual. Since his parents sent him here, he thinks he needs to live among the people. God damn it.
See, this is what's nice about us streaming multiple times a week is that things will bleed into other things.
It will, because this is our friendship on a teeter-totter based on Monday's stream. Because we are replaying the goddamn game. On Among Men, he is known simply as John. That's a character the players can run into, and they'll have no fucking idea it's a deity. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just some random guy named John, if you had to be listening to the stream. But maybe the third John you meet is a god.
It's literally the party just starts, hi, my name's Sean. They just shoot him just to see if he'll die.
No, see, and this is where D&D becomes a thing, right? You here's how you run it. You have they meet 50 Johns over the course of a year. But the one time they interact with John in a way that would be most interesting if John also happened to be the god That's the time he's a god. You're like, oh, the fifth John you were a dick to. That's the god John. Or the fifth John, you ran into, you were nice to. That's that's the god John. Or that's the John that you keep trying to go back to for help. I mean, that's the beauty of this that's the beauty of how I run it versus the beauty of the spreadsheets we're going to get into is it's going to be the seventh John every time. And if they just pass by him, it'll never matter.
But all I'm saying, then that is, to me, that's on rails, right? Because you have the story.
It is the illusion of not rails, which is more important than whether it's on rails or not.
Well, no, I'm just saying there is no fear of failure.
You
really? Oh yeah.
You have no fear of failure in the Curse of Strahd game?
No. I've
killed 3 characters in my other game. You guys have just been fortunate.
All
my dice rolls have been in the open
Strahd's castle with no planning, nothing.
Yeah.
I had 9th level spells that I forgot about and didn't use, and I was okay.
You don't have 9th. Oh, your Finger of Death. Yeah. So
no.
Let me tell you. I
had a Feast of Heroes.
Tom, do not begin to feel safe. I have been playing this game with you open rolls. Every roll I make, you see on the screen. My other game, I have been playing rolls behind my DM screen, and people have died. I am not taking it easy on you. I am not fudging anything so you don't die. That has never happened. Ever. You have been fortunate. If you begin to feel safe, I might start fucking fudging. In the wrong way. You motherfucker.
But what I'm
I'll know which John it is.
Right, but so and I guess here's a general DM question, right?
Yeah.
We meet the Mad Wizard.
Okay.
How many ways can we get him to remember who he is?
Anything creative enough. Anything that makes sense to me when it happens.
Right. So we couldn't merge some changes.
Here, I'm going to go ahead and show conflict pages.
But so and to me, we could have fucked around.
Yeah.
Done everything wrong.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Meet the Mad Wizard and still everything be fine. Right.
No. I mean, no, there were consequences.
But if we went there first before we met, where did we get the book from?
You took all my hooks. You took all the hooks. And when I give you hooks, I give them to you in meaningful ways. If you had ignored the hooks, you wouldn't have the things. It's that simple.
Well, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we have one choice.
No, you have multiple choices.
But then we'd have to then go back, right? We could want.
Here's my goal.
Right, and I'm not the way you DM. That is me not understanding.
Yeah.
How
here's what's happening in the background, Tom.
Yeah.
I try to give you 2 clear choices, plus anything else you want to do. I give you, hey, here's kind of where the story goes. If you want to go down the path, here's some options. But the second you decide to ignore all options, you still can do that, and everything's available. What you guys ran into is you just took every obvious plot hook I threw out, and that's fine. That's the way to play. You chose the rails, but there were always alternate rails to take, and then there were also, fuck the rails, we're going off rails, and you never chose off rails, ever.
So that one time we tried to please Danny.
Yeah, and you guys found an adventure, and then you cussed at Danny for not going out, not following the fucking rails. You personally on Daniel's case for not following the rails.
This is saying not a meaningful way. I wanted to go back and return that gem.
Then why didn't you?
To the vineyard because everybody said it was too far out of the way.
Hey, it's a party game. It's a group game. It's a group experience.
So I wasn't the biggest rails. I'm not as off the wall as Danny.
That's fine.
But to me, especially because because I would say that game is really the only, I would say, actual D&D experience that I have. And so with that, like there's to me, there's a lot of things that are a mystery.
And they are a mystery. They will remain a mystery. I can explain them to you, but I think we're way off topic for designing a Dungeons and Dragons world. And I do want to talk about these with you, but let's do it after stream.
Okay. So pumpernickel bread.
Pumpernickel bread. That god sounds like the god of pleasure and recreation to me.
And that's what I was reading through some lists and whatever, and when I hit that, I was like, exactly what I need. So that's your lust god right there. That's your
pleasure and recreation. So what's this god's goal? To experience all the pleasures of the world?
Right. Yeah. He loves partying, getting drunk, sleeping with whoever he can find, maybe even whatever he can find.
Drinks, fucks. And so here's an interesting take on this. You ever watch Doctor Who?
No.
Okay, so there's this alien they introduce in the story, and he looks mostly human, and eventually some storyline happens where he becomes an immortal. So he lives for a really long fucking time. Now, the great thing about this is this alien who looks entirely human, and he's a very handsome man, it's not just bisexual because the rest of the universe is greater than male female. He's just sexual. Anything and everything that looks cute to him is fuckable. But it's adorable because he says things like, how us on Earth were very confined to, male, female stereotypes, genders. And I think a god like this does fuck anything. He's very open-minded. He's not a human. Fucking a goat isn't weirder than fucking a human. They're both outside of his species.
See, this would be a creative way to cast the spell meld with stone.
There you go, fuck stone. Maybe this guy, he's just out to experience the world. So this god wants to experience all the pleasures of the world. He drinks, he fucks, he loves to eat pumpernickel bread. Absolutely putting pumpernickel bread into this. And has very little preconceived notions.
Ooh, that use of a semicolon. Ooh, Your 10th grade English teacher's proud.
It's probably a bad one because I put "and" after it. It probably just says. Here we go. Cleaned it up. So yeah, this god wants to experience all of them. I think that's perfect. And maybe pumpernickel bread was something he tried, and he's like, "This is the best bread. I've had 30 kinds of bread, and I love this one. This is the best. I need to go try some pumpernickel."
And it's not even, people say it's good in moderation now.
Jack might be human. You're right, Tom. Right, John. He's just future human.
Future human.
I ain't talking about Jack.
But so it's nothing. Things aren't good in moderation.
So, of course, he falls into probably the pleasures of men that we also fall into. The drinking. John says the gods of tits and wine. That's a very Game of Thrones reference, and I like it. That's him. That's probably him. Pleasure and recreation.
Right. So this god and the John god are at odds with each other.
They probably are. This is absolutely. I love that dynamic.
So these are two of the, what are we calling it? The opposite things.
Sure.
Just to sort of loosely, think back to another strand of thought. We're tying that red string around. It's now attached to our investigation.
I like that. I'm putting that down there. Some is good. More must be better. That's so good. I mean, that's a quote from the show, but am I the prude god? I'm never living around Shiloh Gate. So Shiloh Gate's a funny story. So back when I was in the Air Force, there was a good group of us. We were all friends. We all came into the Air Force at the same time. We graduated AIT at the same time. And we hung out. We actually got stationed at the same place, and we hung out all the time. We were good friends. There were those among us who had more aspirations for promotion than the rest of us. Now, I wanted to be promoted, but I didn't want to spend 6 hours a day studying. I didn't, because I already worked 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day, whatever it was in the Air Force. So there was this one night, and John, who was in this chat, AIT, I did say AIT because people understand the word AIT. John was one of those guys. That's where I know him from. And he was the kind of guy who wanted to study all the time because promotion mattered. And the end result of the story is he did get promoted 1 year before I did. He outranked me for a period of a couple years. And then he quit the Air Force. So I win. Anyway, long story short, we were all out having a decent time. We had dinner at a restaurant, and John wanted to go study. But the rest of us, like 5 of us, wanted to see a movie. And we had one car. John was very insistent on us taking him home to his room so he could study. And we were really insistent on seeing this movie. And the only thing he would say is like, come on, there's got to be a movie you want to see. What movie do you want to see? And John said, I want to see Shiloh Gate, which is home, right? And we're like, come on, John, we don't want to take you all the way. It's like 25 minutes home. We're going to miss the movie. He's like, I want to see Shiloh Gate. And that was it for like 20 minutes, and we couldn't win that fight. And eventually we took him home.
Whose car was it?
I think it might have been John's. He had a car. No, you did make staff the year before I did. I made it 1 year after you. I deployed and did all my studying while I was deployed, and then I came back and I made it. I think I still made it faster than most of our group. It was you and Jason that made staff sergeant, and then I made it the following year.
Distressingly fair.
It was. You were like doing this thing where you're like throwing your fist in the air and putting him down to the ground like, Shiloh Gate, Shiloh Gate. You did take all the fun out of that one night. And out of all the times you had to study, like, it's not like we ran into this problem all the time and we were constantly insistent that you give up your studying. It was literally like the only night I remember that this ever came up. It was funny, but we're way off topic here and we're trying to build a D&D world. Yes, you are the prudes, you are the self-awareness and understanding God. In the end, you'll probably be the winningest God. All right, so freedom, the exploration God. I like it. I do like exploration God.
What's that in there?
All right, so so health plus mental minus happiness.
I
think that's almost self-awareness God. I think they're very close.
That was. I thought I deleted that one.
Okay, well, yeah. God is winning. You'll be tired of gods. God so winning. You'll be tired of gods. All right, so we got to move on. So live forever, God. What do you think? Like, is that a God that is like? So here's 2 thoughts.
Mm-hmm. 2 gods died.
Is this a God that's overly cautious?
Could be. Doesn't take risks. Shut in.
He takes no risks. He's a shut in. He wants to live forever. He doesn't want to die. Mm-hmm. I like that. But maybe this is the God that bans arcane magic.
We're
gonna pigeonhole that into somebody. Yeah.
I was thinking, one of the thoughts that I've had that I'm not overly attached to. Stop accusing me. Is that they all come together to do so, and then there's some sort of, with that they're all dependent on each other, whether they like it or not.
I think 2/3 of them come together for that. I don't think John and Pleasure God get involved in godly affairs. I think John is trying to live life as a man and doesn't want to get into the politics, and Pleasure God doesn't give a fuck. He wants to drink and fuck and eat pumpernickel bread.
And then that can sort of be a power struggle between them of trying to balance that
maybe,
because whereas and we have this the live forever cautious God, he won't have very many followers, and one of the things that we talked about last week is the more followers you have, the more powerful you are. So that's his.
See, that's the thing. That dynamic, more gods, the more followers you have, the more powerful you are, changes this dynamic. It changes the way a lot of these gods will think. Pleasure and self-awareness God become not immune to that. They just don't care about their power.
Well, I mean to an extent. I mean,
Okay,
if they could just get smited by the other gods.
Let's say 100% god power is no followers, and like, you know, 1,000, you know, the 80% of the population followers becomes like 120%. You're stronger. You'll win a one-on-one duel, but you need allies still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
I mean, that's a conversation down the road.
Right. When we talk about the level of strength of these gods, too, we got to dictate whether or not they need armies. Do they need armies? Are armies important? I think armies are. I think having...
No, they have to be, because that would be so cool.
So the Live Forever god is a cautious god who rarely takes risks, but he's calculating and manipulative. He is the god that initiated the anti-arcane movement among his
the AAM.
The AAM. I like it. Among his or her siblings. Good. Done. Now, I like it. He probably seeks ways to live forever, but maybe they just do as long as they don't die. And he realizes that arcane magic could beat him.
Kill him.
Yeah. I mean, maybe divine magic does, but he's not willing to sacrifice the power of his followers to do it. So what kind of thing does he push upon his followers?
He doesn't. He's like the cult god.
But you sit around this cult fire and you're like, the right time is the night time. The right time. Like, what's your theme? I can't get a cult for being cautious. Is it life forever?
Well, no. It could just be a fear of the rest of the population, right? Like they are like in a secluded mountain.
No. Zealots who are mage hunters.
Ooh. Okay. I'm digging it. That's like the chat just witnessed the one time that Uncommon and I were on exactly the same page of agreement after two converging thoughts happened.
I love it. Yeah, so he takes this and he's realized that the one way he dies is arcane magic in the right combination. He spends his time manipulating his brothers into the anti-arcane music movement. They get behind him. Enough of them get behind him that they were able to outlaw it across the land, and he creates his cult following. His followers are zealots who hunt mages. So these are guys who are like, they have anti-mage power, right? They whatever their abilities are, they have silence, right? They have anti-magic shield. They have counterspell. You know, they're these guys.
Is counterspell a divine thing?
No,
or is that arcane
it's
magic?
not. We'll have to come up with some reason why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe they're arcane. Maybe they're arcane wizards. Maybe they're arcane fighters. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe there's magic items that he creates for them.
Yeah, there you go. The counterspell necklace of counterspelling.
Yep, like a fireball necklace, but with counterspell.
Wait, are fireball necklaces things?
Yes.
Wait.
So if you have their beads and they're like 8 beads, you take a bead off and you throw it, and when it hits, it's a fireball. You don't want to like. We found those fireball necklaces before as party members in a D&D game, and we were fighting over who was going to get it until one person just smashed all the beads with a hammer. It was.
I thought you were fell and the beads hit the ground and all exploded, and you got hit with 8 fireballs at once.
One moment, I need to use the bathroom.
So Casey has not learned what we learned Monday night. That lesson is still fresh in his mind, not yet in the folds of his brain. Ooh, for example. Oh wait, like he's not just a coward. His goal is preservation of life to the greatest degree. Okay. Turn all the traits into argumentative arguably, as my brain would say. Okay, like for example, right? Yeah, and that's I like that line of thinking, and I definitely the zealots idea I think is a pretty cool one that sort of encompasses that. Um, I mean, maybe we don't have that idea for all of them, but we'll slowly start
I'm sorry, Tom.
working.
I'm a hydrated individual.
Yeah, there's a difference between hydrated and wearing Depends. Don't flush out all of your electrolytes.
I'm just reconsuming them. I heard you talking about me having not learned about not hydrating, but what was after that?
Just John said some more things in the.
He's saying some great things. John
right.
is really,
yeah.
really.
You could try to turn
like
the traits into arguably positive, right? Like I think the live forever one is a good example of that.
Yep.
But it may not be everything or that way for all of them, but we'll slowly mold them.
I can see that. I can see the live forever god. He's cautious. He rarely takes risk, and that's self-motivating. But he turns out when he's speaking through his priest to his people and the mage hunters, he's saying that arcane magic is dangerous. It's harmful to the people. We must save the people from this uncontrollable destructive force. Like, I think this god isn't a good god. I think this god is kind of an evil god. Question mark.
Evil.
I think he's manipulative and evil. I don't think he's for himself and nothing else. I think both the pleasure and the pleasure and self-awareness god are probably more neutral gods. And this is important that we give them alignments, and we got to talk about chaos. So like pleasure and recreation, probably more chaotic neutral, while self-awareness understanding is more a lawful neutral. Live forever is probably more of a lawful evil.
Could they all be neutral gods?
They could, but we start breaking the D&D world apart because clerics and paladins depend on alignments for their spells. So giving them somewhere on the evil versus good and then chaotic versus lawful spectrum,
like
if characters have to do.
If D&D is usually a 1 to 10 scale, we can still be at around a 4 or 5 and a 6 for good, neutral, and evil, and I get being relative to
right. But we still need to assign
ones.
Which means we probably need 9 gods no matter what. Just nine gods.
Okay.
Because that's the spectrum. Freedom being pure neutral in my mind, but we haven't even talked about what he is. I'm going to go back real quick and say knowledge and skill and spirituality. I like spirituality. I like that being neutral good. Because this person just wants the goodness of their people, to be nice, but they don't have a rhyme or reason behind it. Knowledge and skill, I like that being neutral. We have way too many neutrals here.
I mean, it might be, we might be able to tweak it just a tiny bit and have it be chaotic, or maybe even lawful. Shit.
Maybe.
Like
okay, go ahead.
Like the law of the land, right? I mean, you have,
knowledge,
the way things. Yeah, the way things.
Is lawful good.
I mean, more than anything. I mean, once again, if we're dealing with the 4, 5, and 6.
Maybe we'll go neutral good for lawful, and then spirituality just becomes lawful good. Maybe like, hey, obey me, obey my laws, kind of thing. We'll think on it. We'll think on it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right, so new freedom, the exploration god, wants to see everything. Is that their goal? They want to see the world.
Yeah.
Wants to see everything. They want their followers to explore and see everything. But this is very closely tied to, I think, almost pleasure and recreation. But pleasure and recreation is self-serving, while freedom seems to be...
Right.
Okay. Like, I like freedom.
Yeah. Right. Like, it's... Does this guy have a problem with followers and the fact that he's like, just follow any guy? Right? Like,
And some of them might be
is
more zealous.
yeah, this is freedom of religion, God. Yes, Brandy. I mean, we are already named after you.
Oh, man. So, take a look at this.
I'm taking a look at what?
I'm looking at the next, romance. I don't like it. Get rid of it.
It's too close to the live or not
Yep.
live forever. I was just looking at
Right.
that. The pleasure recreation.
Pleasure recreation god. I like it, but I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Grimly says, "Follow me. I'm your god." Well, fucking give me an idea. We've already named some gods after people.
I told Bradley we're already named after him. So.
I think there's got to be. So now, okay. So we have ourselves some of the good spectrum. We have all the neutral spectrum. We need something that's chaotic good. I
think being first could be evil.
Okay. So at the expense of others.
Well, yeah, being first no matter what.
Tech 4. I don't actually. I need to turn off my.
Yeah.
I need to turn off my link banning. I don't even care. Let me. How do I? Let me do that real quick. So you go and talk about being first.
Okay, there you go, Tech. Well, I like how. I'd like to give Tech mod, but then everybody's just mod, and so then mod means nothing.
You're not wrong. Go ahead. What do you have?
Tech bus link for being first.
All right, I've disabled the link protection. Nobody's ever given me a shitty link, so.
Grimly, the being first. So we already have exploration, so it wouldn't be like being first exploration. It's being
first is an exploration. It's being. Is this the guy that wants to win the foot race? Like I don't see where he fits into this. It's not as broad of a spectrum as the rest of these are.
Well, I think its problem is being too broad.
No, I don't think the problem is too broad.
Being first is not.
Being. It's just weird. It's not broad enough. It's very specific to me, but maybe it's too broad. Because you can be first at spirituality and knowledge and self-awareness and live forever. Like you could.
Right, and that's why it's too broad.
To me, it was like the first one to do something, which is exploration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna delete it.
Or we could slap that under being first / freedom. Well, no.
I mean, I'll write being first here for now, but.
Okay, no, there we go. Page back.
The first one to see something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so create something new. I like his creation.
Okay.
I do. You sent me a link. It's a soundtrack to D&D soundtrack. I think Tech has already created our entire soundtrack for this campaign. Continue without disabling ad blocker. Download.
It's 12 megs.
I mean, that's not a huge thing. I'm gonna.
No, but I'm just like, and so to me, that's more than one song.
Oh yeah. Oh, you think there's you?
I thought it was just gonna be the convoy song.
I think he's been working diligently on this, and I'm ashamed that you would. I don't have the things to open RARs. This is ridiculous. Come on, Tech. I can't download WinRAR right now.
Well, we don't need it right now.
I don't need it. Oh, 7-zip. I do have the thing to do it. I was lying.
Okay, so that sort of takes us down to 8.
Okay.
And I'm like, if we have neutral, we have chaotic neutral, we need chaotic evil and neutral evil.
Okay.
Right? Those are the two that we're missing.
One second. Tech is. I'm gonna do this real quick. Tech 4 has given us music.
Oh Jesus!
You gotta listen to my stream. I'll be quiet.
You're gonna no. We're gonna get the stream muted again.
No. I think Tech created all of this.
Did Tech
I think he
create this, or
physically
is this
created all of this.
Okay.
All right, I'm listening to it, so I'm gonna be quiet while you listen. That was called Area Average. So the average area music. All right, so this one, next one's Area Creepy. Glory. Area Sad. It's just nothing. Area Sad is just nothing. Battle 1. Battle Major Battle 1. Major Battle 2. Battle Minor 1. Alright, that might get me banned. Minor 2. I love it. I do love it. I'm going to use these in a D&D campaign. I guarantee you I will use this in a D&D campaign.
Jeez.
So when something good happens, and when something bad happens, you play this. And when something good happens, you play this. All right. So yeah, that was custom music made for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I'm going to drop it into the media section because I have that power. So you have access to it.
You can post.
You can put files in here, yeah.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. They can't be too big, but I don't know what the limit is.
Well, we're about to find out.
All right, there we go. Some of these files are too large. Please insert them individually. We'll do. Attach file. Attach file. Attach file. Attach file. Attach file. I will use these. I fucking guarantee you I will use. You took time to compose this, Tech. I will take time to play them in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign in Roll20 so everybody hears them. I'd be like, you have entered a battle. It's a major battle. All right. I do have the files in there. You have them all. Whew. Can I play these straight from... I think I just saw a play button. I will... Oh, man. Fucking OneNote can play this.
Oh, they're not even there for me.
You have to resync, and they're big. I mean, this is 12 gigs. This is like 12 megs. Sorry, not 12 gigs. This is a mega piece. All right, so we left off. We're getting close to a good point here, and we did an hour and a half last episode, so we're almost there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 gods creating something new. We have all of the neutrals, right?
Wait, I need to cancel the sync.
Creating something new seems like a good thing for chaotic good.
Oh, it did it.
So what does this god want to do? This god wants to... This is like the god of creation. Like, this is life, almost. This is part of his mother that's life and chaos.
The druid god.
This god closely... this god most closely resembles... I'm going to say father. His or her father.
So light, life, chaos. Is that...
I like light, life, chaos being the father because it's so... And it's just not what people normally like. And then death, dark, and order is the mother. Like, this just seems backwards to what we'd assume. I'm breaking expectations. So this god most closely resembles his or her father, the great god of life, light, and chaos.
Okay, yeah, no.
Favoring creation. This god
Is that, and
spends.
that's
Go ahead.
different than, yeah, okay, it is. Never mind. We're good.
This god spends most of his time in nature. Um, in nature, giving life to new creatures and well, new life to new creatures. Giving life to, there's no and needed there. What do you think? Nature god,
Okay.
right there.
Yeah. So then, should there be the lawful? We don't have lawful evil, right? Oh, we do.
We have lawful evil. We don't have chaotic evil, and we don't have neutral
Right.
evil.
Well, because then I was thinking if we then have something that then favors the quote unquote mother or whatever, and have that be lawful evil, and
Okay.
then potentially change the live forever to chaotic evil.
Death and suffering. We can say chaotic evil. So you can say this god most close. Let me get this idea out. Let me know what you think.
Okay.
Closely resembles his or her mother, the great god of dark death order.
Right.
And enjoys. How did I write that one? Favoring death.
So to me, lawful evil and chaotic good are complete and total opposites. But how could the person most like the mother of dark death and order be chaotic?
It's okay. I think it's because we can go with a misinterpretation. So they most favor death of the three, and have misinterpreted the order of life to be there's not enough death in this world, and they need to artificially put more in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking plagues, pestilence, murder.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we go here. Is they got it wrong, and that's why it's evil. Because death isn't evil. Death is an order. Death is a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But this person's got it wrong.
And then we could potentially then have
we could take out the part
missing.
that most favors, but yeah.
Yeah, we're missing neutral evil, and then we'll have some like bravery or something like that, where it's just it's
what's the necessary evil in the
that's
world?
that's neither here nor there, but it's just bloody violence all the time. It's like when I think talked about it before, where it's just like things are solved by
Let me write out death
getting
and
into
suffering. I like your thought. Let me write it out because I can't think when this thought's incomplete. Sorry.
I don't like how close we are to Brad, if you think it sounds like a fire alarm, the music, I'd love to hear your creations. You can send it to us the same way Tech did. We'd be happy for it.
We would probably still incorporate it into our Dungeons and Dragons sessions.
Yeah.
All right, so you're saying that so we are creating evil deities, and we have one who wants to live forever, and he's using his zealots to change the laws and hunt mages. We have one who's death and suffering. They're just plague, pestilence, and murder. They're just causing death. And you want a neutral evil is the last one, and you're thinking like violence.
Because just straight up violence.
Battle isn't necessarily evil, but maybe violence is. Maybe this is like, I don't know. Like I think this has to hinge on the natures of men, things that we are inherently are, and that they push. So like jealousy, envy. Is that an angle you're looking at?
I mean, Potentially, yeah. I mean, that sounds a little too cliche, but it's in the right direction.
Well, and here's the problem: is that death and suffering isn't a goal, and jealousy and envy aren't a goal. So how do we take death and suffering and turn it into a goal like we have the rest of the gods?
Right. I don't think the life goals that I looked up is gonna have anything.
No, because your life goals aren't evil. Your life goals aren't evil. We have to come up with something new. So, all right. So let's start with death and suffering. Maybe that's an easier one. So a god that wants to inflict more death upon the world. This is a god maybe that wants to sacrifice people, win favor. Maybe win favor with parents.
Potentially. Well, I mean, I guess looking for. I mean, do we have anything that's like looking for power or starving for power? And like if followers are power, do people will act better on fear than on hope, right? Like people will always act.
This is the blood god. This is the blood god. You're right, Tech.
Fuck.
So this is the god of desires power and influence. So this god is seeking. Yeah. This god.
Is that too close to any of them? I don't think so.
No.
I mean, no.
Influence through fear
no.
and destruction. Through fear. So seeking power and influence through fear. We can take out the most closely resembles part because that's okay if it's only one. We don't have to have a balance there. This god spends most of his time trying to inflict more death upon the world in an effort to convert followers in a quest for power, plague, pestilence, and murder. Like, follow me or we will murder you. Taking away. You got your pumpernickel bread.
I don't know why you're saying pumpernickel.
It's not
pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel.
What?
You pump it.
It's pumpernickel.
Pump it up.
Tech, describe the hors d'oeuvre pigs in a blanket for me, if you could.
All right, so we got that. I like where we went. That is the blood god. We're gonna write more blood for the blood god. It's not the pumpernickel world. What is this? All right.
Jeez.
We're coming into a new place. So, jealousy and envy. It just sent me a picture and it is loading, and it's a pig in a blanket. That's cute. All right, so we have to make a neutral evil god, and I think this relies on. I think this relies on the nature of men, what we are intuitively, without
Colosseum. Cheering on people killing each other. I'm just throwing out general.
Yeah,
ideas.
Please keep throwing them out. I'm almost there, but I'm not set on that one.
What about just war?
What do they desire? What do they desire?
What about the god of war?
I do like. Well, I don't like war being evil. It's my job.
Victor, why? What? Oh! I'm sorry. Is someone becoming too attached to their job? What about victory? Victory at any cost.
I like the thought, but how about conquest?
Sure.
I like conquest over war.
War to me that's
they're not the same thing, and if you think they are, you are dull.
I'm American. You're right.
Americans aren't on a conquest. We're not on a conquest. Thank you very much. The giggles from you. All right, conquest. I like it. This god wants to conquer the world. The other gods are an obstacle in his way. His followers. So actually, you know the great thing about this god is a natural leader and highly charismatic.
Okay.
His followers believe wholly in his ability to lead them to glory and prosperity. You got to give a positive, because think about this: neutral evil to me, that's the Empire, Star Wars. That's I'm going to bring peace and safety to the world.
It's only evil if you're.
It's only what?
It's only evil if you're on the other side.
Yeah, unless you give up. I mean, honestly, I think if you let the conquest god rule, things would be peaceful. But getting there is tough. Guam was conquested. Guam decided to be one of our territories.
Yeah, Casey knows he was there.
I was there. I have no idea what the fuck Guam's about. Man.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I went from making fun of Casey a whole bunch about this idea, but I think we ended up at a good spot.
Yeah.
I think
I have good ideas.
All right, fine. Never mind. I take everything back.
You take nothing back. You've said it. It's been written. All right. So that took. I mean, I think last time we gave ourselves an outline that was really big and broad, and we is a lot to accomplish, and we didn't accomplish it all, but it gave us a good guideline. And I agree with you. I think we found a bunch of really interesting characters that are going to create this world.
Now we just have to create books about them.
Whole books. What's the next?
Tech, if you could create the soundtracks for those books, that'd be great.
Number 3. All right. So now we're into, and I think we're on the same page here. We spent this whole thing creating some deities that we're gonna have to fledge out. So I think between this episode and next episode, we create pages for each of these deities, and we start writing some things about them.
And then we fight and we argue tooth and nail all the way.
I think we maybe come back and review our edits, but yes.
And then we
argue.
Yep. And then we wrestle.
Argue about the people, about the gods. What else can we do next episode? What are we looking to do? So last time we said
we might be able to talk map, right?
Creation, story, and map.
With the story, what I think that those are 2 episodes. So, what one comes in front of the other?
I think creation story comes first.
Okay. I was 60-40 on that, and
Okay.
I agree.
All right, so we're talking about creation story. We're talking about the event that brought the gods down. We're talking about, because we're gonna we need to delve in between, kind of write down. You'll get more than 3 sentences about each of these people. Maybe find a picture online that we think best represents who they are.
Draw it ourselves.
I mean, that's a thing, but I'd rather.
Hey, have you seen my title cards? Those stick figures are bomb.
Tom, I'm putting you on Scratch for 9 god photos.
Fuck.
You'll see those next time as we put some creative thinking into this. And I'm going to say the rest of the things are potential. If we run ourselves short on time and we need to fill some more time, I think we do talk about the map. We talk about how the creation story affected the map if we get there. This did take more time than I thought it would. So we have so many episodes ahead of ourselves. God, I can't wait till season 6, episode 5, where like the mother of dragons is,
I like how Ted pulled up 2 different links of the same image, and so that I didn't.
So that you didn't know it was another pig in a blanket.
No.
All right, so the blood god is a pig, and he loves blankets. His symbol is a pig.
I thought it was him bacon.
I'm thinking like Ganon.
His symbol's Ganon?
No, Ganon's the Link villain who's a giant, massive pig. Is a pig.
Oh, Ganon's a pig?
In a blanket. All right. In a blankie.
Well, I haven't played Zelda yet. Why'd you spoil it for me?
That's just the basic history of Link video games. It's like Mario is Bowser. I've spoiled nothing.
What?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Delving in Deep, Episode 2. I'm Uncommon.
And I'm Shazam Poop.
And he's Shazam Poop. And today we have nailed ourselves down 9 deities to represent each of the alignments, because that's a pretty good fucking starting point. We got ourselves a basic creation story, and we're going to delve into that next time. We're going to talk maybe about the map. We're going to argue a bunch about Tom's pictures and whether or not that's the right representation for those gods, and make him redraw all 9 of them. We're going to make him quite the artist. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to chat them out or Discord me, or leave them in the comments below, because this will be on YouTube on Friday.
Discord that link.
Discord that link. There's a Discord link. It's up above. You guys have it. It'll show up in a couple seconds. Hey, Tom, any last words for our viewers?
Eat your vegetables and then throw them up, because those are calories, and calories are bad.
Great advice here from Shazam Poop. Thank you very much, Tom. With that being said, thanks for watching. Do I end stream? I think we play Smash Brothers.
I'll get right on that.
Right, you need to buy yourself a game. Next time, get his camera next to yours so that works. Yeah, it's a good bit of advice, but you have to convince him. Everybody has to clap their hands together and get Tom to let me put his video on this stream. That being said, thanks for watching. We're gonna go right into my Discord and my chat, and we're gonna hang out. We're gonna do some things. Maybe play some Magic the Gathering or Smash. I know Tech4 and Brad are big Smash fans right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next week, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday for Delving in Deep Episode 3.